Welcome everybody to round 3 of season 16 wheel-to-wheel AL2. We are not in Vietnam today, but we are here in the city of Shanghai for the Chinese Grand Prix. The city of Shanghai is on the east coast of China. It is one of the largest and most exciting cities in the world. The 20-mile journey from the Puyongdong International Airport to the heart of the metropolis takes a mere 7 minutes on the amazing 260 mile an hour Mo Glove train. A second commute train will bring you here to the Shanghai International Circuit. Here we have 16 corners, 7 to the left and 9 to the right, 56 laps of this 3.3 mile circuit, which by the time the race is over, the drivers will have done about 189 miles here. We're in the middle of the Pirelli range again with the C2, C3 and C4. Mediums are about 1.4 seconds slower than the softs, and the hards are about 2 seconds slower than the softs. Softs are said to last around 15 laps, mediums 33 and the hards 43 laps. Prime strategy here would be soft, medium, medium, but China being no stranger to changing weather, this could change the strategy, so we will wait and see how the weather forecast holds up and what kind of race we are going to have here at the Chinese Grand Prix. I'm joined by All Shot Down. I'm Bloomstar 1986 and this will be the Chinese Grand Prix. So how are you doing, All Shot?
Right, good evening. No, I'm all good. I'm going to be honest, with the fluent Chinese you're speaking there, I almost felt like I was actually there. So, it's definitely showing your multilingual skills.
Well, I was stumbling over some words, so, you know, it did feel a bit like I was trying to speak Chinese.
You pulled the wool over my eyes. So just keeping an eye out here, the cloud cover over the track, just waiting to see if we get an update regarding the weather. As we saw on Wednesday, depending on what the weather is like in quali, can make a huge effect on how people attack it for the race itself. But I believe first car out on track we do have is a letdown estate for the Red Bull, closely followed by there, I believe that is Sega driving for Williams. So at the moment it'll be interesting to see how a letdown can respond. It's sitting currently second in the championship, behind Cal as our current leader. Be interesting to see what can happen in this race tonight, to be honest.
Yeah, soon we'll be going on board with a letdown estate. As you say, is the first car out driving for Red Bull. It does look quite cloudy, so interesting to see what kind of weather report we're going to get through, but there's a few people picking the medium tyres, so interesting to see how the strategies will play out in this race.
Definitely, and as you can see here, he's just taking a nice slow exit out of the second to last corner, and he's going to really put all the beans behind it going into turn 16 now, and trying to keep the car as straight as he can coming across the line here. I'm going to be intrigued to see how well these mediums have warmed up on his opening lap, to see how well he can stick the car now, as he's going to throw it into turn 1, which is this really awkward, long, sweeping right-hander. You just got to make sure you find the nice apex as you do turn into what turns into turn 2, and then down into turn 3 on a quick left. Now, 4, coming up very shortly on the right-hand side here, is classified as a corner, which threw me off as well. Very uneven surfaces now has come down into one of the overtaking opportunities come the race, down into turn 6. Nice and easy up onto the curb again. He's not taking too much risk here on the medium tyres itself. And then we go into one of the fastest part of the track here, which is 7 and 8 here. You need to make sure you get the nice line going in through both of these sections, because as soon as you enter off one line, get it wrong, you can unsettle the car completely. Into 9 and 10, double left-hander again. He's done a very nice line here, making sure he uses the curb to get the drive all the way down into one of the most awkward braking zones of the track, into turn 11, this tight uphill left, but he's done well to keep the car nice and planted. Now straight on the power, foot down, needs to get the traction perfect for one of the longest straights on the calendar through 13, as we're now going to seem like it takes an eternity to get down this back straight into the first DRS zone in that respect, for what he's coming across the lap. Down into the heaviest braking zone I personally would think of a calendar as well. We just need to keep an eye on those braking boards on the left, just before the 100 metres, straight onto the curb. Tight apex, nice and quick on the throttles. Ooh, kick of oversteer, but he's kept the car going well. Bit adventurous, I think, there, but he's managed to settle it well as he's going to come across the line to set the first respected lap of tonight through turn 16, and he goes across the line setting a 1:33 flat on the medium tyres. It'll be interesting to see how they follow up it.
Yeah, good time on the mediums there. Immediately beat by Sega Takaz, throwing in a 1:32.9. As I said, the mediums are about 1.4 seconds slower than the softs, so we are looking at some pretty rapid soft times if people go on to the softs. We've previously had pole times here with a 1:30.5, so let's see what these guys can do.
It's interesting to note as well where a letdown did have a slight slip on his lap as well, only a tenth separating the two drivers so far. Just having a little look to see here, only Cal, but clearly showing a bit of confidence here, the only driver not to be out on track just yet. Oh, I beg your pardon, and Apoplex, who's just come back in. So I want to try and find who is next out. We've got purple sector 1 here for Woody 420 at the moment here. Wolfie flying around in the racing point, and now Aston Martin coming into those sweeping left-handers. He's on the softs, so it'll be interesting to see how he does fare up against these drivers tonight.
Yeah, Woody returning. He used to race wheel to wheel, I think season 13. He did a few races, so we'll see how he fares against everybody else. But to mention Xerxes on a set of softs, set of 1:31.3, which is put in provisionally on pole, which is a phenomenal time in comparison to his medium running counterparts.
Because I was so distracted by the fluent Chinese that was spoken, the delta between the two tyres is, you just have to remind me there as he covered the gap between the two in the split. 1.4, so definitely there. And that side of it. Keeping an eye on here, Woody now is just coming up round the final corner. Still valid time here. He's going to be running a bit low on the battery deployment before the line, but that shouldn't make too much of a difference as he throws the car across the line going P2. Nearly identical times with Xerxes with 1:30.13.
That is an incredibly close time. Cal, he's currently on his outlap, but James, time is invalidated, so unfortunately he won't be setting a valid time there, but he would have got a 1:38. So obviously maybe he knew he was invalid and let off.
It is one of those things with the length of the track as well. It doesn't look overly complicated, but it does feel like it can take a while to get around here. In such a short qualifying session, you do have to make sure you can try and fit in as many runs as you can if you do unfortunately make those mistakes or get those invalid laps. Some people opt for just adding that extra bit of fuel on, just in case, to make sure you can get that one lap in that's necessary.
Trying to find, Cal's just about to start his flying lap. But most people out at the moment look like they'll probably be coming in. Apoplex yet to set a time. He did come back in, so he's out on a set of mediums. But Cal, he's been doing well this season. Where is my table? He's won his first 2 races at wheel to wheel. He also got fastest lap and pole, so he will be the one to beat as he sets a purple sector 1.
Interesting to note as well, his teammate Dan, had gone ahead and actually set a purple sector 2 momentarily as well, so the McLaren's showing very strong pace here. And he's a slight kick of oversteer as he comes around the final corner. The lap stays valid and goes 4th on those softs. Now, while we are waiting for Cal to just come down onto the back straight, who has gone purple sector 2 as well, like you predicted, I can see here we've had the update in regards to the weather, dry qualifying. However, just to spice it up for us this evening, it looks like we could be looking at showers midway through the race.
I love some changing weathers. Cal heavy braking into turn 14. He was quite deep into that last corner. So DRS open. He still has some ERS, so he did save some for that lap, and he crosses the line with a 1:30.7, so completely knocks Xerxes' soft time out of the park. So we can really see the difference in the tyre compounds there, as most on the top 5 on the softs.
Like you said earlier, though, is the common strategies, soft, medium, medium. Like we saw on Wednesday, we had quite a few of the drivers opting to start on the mediums to try and finish on the quicker tyres. But again, we saw a few safety cars on Wednesday that completely changed it for everyone. So again, especially with the rain, if we can have anything like that, it'll be interesting to see how the table does pan out, considering how close these guys can be.
couple comments on the stream. Droftass says Carl and Xerxes for AL. Off on the mediums, so I think I still went too fast, but we've got Appleplex just about to cross the line, setting his first lap, and on the mediums he set a 1:33.4. So it's not the best time I've seen Appleplex do, but he is on the medium compound, so it all depends on where you want to start in the race. If you want to start on the mediums and go for that longer stint at the start, depending where the rain will fall, that might be one of the better strategies to go for. But you know, with the 1.4 second deficit on the mediums, you're not going to get a very high starting position if you've got your counterparts running on the softs.
It completely threw me then when you said about he was finishing up the lap, though. I think I've got a couple issues with my timings here. I've got it here down. He's done 0 laps on those tires, and yet somehow has the time on the board.
That's a good point.
I do love the telemetry.
So, got a few people on outlaps at the minute. Appleplex, unless he's going again, which he isn't, because he's 12 seconds down from his previous time.
Woody has just crossed the line to have another bite of the cherry on another on the same set of softs by the looks of it. On a fresh set, beg your pardon. So clearly wants to see if he can find that extra bit of pace to put that racing point on the front row.
Do you think he's sporting an Aston Martin helmet there?
I will be honest, talking about the real life cars, the amount of liveries that have dropped so far, I think there's a lot of blue, but I think a lot of the cars, they've nailed it. They look very nice this year, besides the copy and pastes of the few regulars, of course.
Yes. Well, yeah, I can't begrudge Red Bull. You know, a Red Bull car wouldn't look the same if it was different. Excuse that weird expression.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I always was a fan of, I think it was their 2005 Monaco, Star Wars livery, but I think that'd be asking a bit much now.
I like the Silverstone 007, but I did like their it was like a blue camo livery which they'd done for testing the 1 year. That looked pretty wicked, to be fair. But we've got Woody coming round, looking to set another time. Again, he's ran out of ERS before crossing the line, but he does improve, not by much, but that puts him ahead of Xerxes and into second place.
Xerxes, yeah, is outlap as well. Interesting to note, a lot of these medium runners at the back here not going out just yet for another go around the track, so I don't know if they're planning on maybe to send it out on just a one quick lap on the softs, or are they just committing to this strategy?
Well, CHM is just coming up towards the line to set a time. He was 5 tenths up, but he lost a bit of traction on the back coming out of turn 14, but he does improve by 4 tenths, which puts him up into 9th on a set of mediums to start the race. He does have time to come back in and change his tyres if he wanted to go for a faster time on a set of softs, but that would lock him in on a set of soft tyres to start this race. So Prev just starting the lap. Xerxes just starting a lap as well, so we'll see a few more times coming up on that lead timing board.
The Mercedes drivers there doing a very good job of just getting out of the way there of Dazzy while he is on his lap, so nice and respectful, of course, no one wanting to get in each other's way, especially through that middle sector as well, as it can get very tight. Going for it again, they're taking a very wide line, and unfortunately it looks like he has invalidated the lap.
He has, yes.
It's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other here. Do you stop here, try and save as much fuel and go for it again, or try and get back in the pits and slap on a fresh set of rubber?
Yeah, that's it. It depends what fuel he has in the tank. It depends if he wants to start the race on a set of softs which he's done an extra lap on, because these softs do not last long here in China. But at what point will the rain fall? That's going to be the killer for all of the strategies.
I believe we had a slight moment there for Preb as well, as it just caught the back end of that. Yellows in Sector 3 and a bit of dirt on the front tyres, so don't know if he may have lost it, like I said, with the onboard. The whole track route and cameras, it's so easy to lose the back end if you're not focused. You get carried away, thinking the car's going to do everything you want, and just like that, it can snap.
Just looking on board with Xerxes, he's got some traffic in the way, and that has unfortunately invalidated his lap. CHM, I think, was also going for a lap. Really unfortunate there. Xerxes looked like he was going to be on for a flyer, but come round the corner and there was a Mercedes on a lap just in front of him, which kind of held him up. He went round but just went over the line, which meant he's invalidated his lap, and he probably won't have much more time to go again either, so that will be interesting to see. As there's not
very
many
tight
people
on fuel and slight lock-up as well, so I don't know if he will be able to get in and back out again to go for another run, so that might be him done today.
That would have been a 1:30.8 as well, looking at that. Where would a 1:30.8 have put him? It would have put him second place. But there's still a few people who could come out. There's not a lot of time left of this session, so if anybody's coming out, they've got to come out now.
You say that, we have a couple. See, one of the cars, two drivers coming out here. One of the
McLaren and a Racing Point. Cal is coming out to defend his pole position. And Woody is also
any
out.
movement just yet down in Red Bull Garage, so I'm hoping that he's going to go for another run. Trying to support the AL1 Red Bull drivers as well here. Be interesting to see if he can get a bit higher up the grid.
I do feel sorry for Xerxes now. Appleplex, I missed that, but Appleplex has put in a time and he's improved, which has pushed Xerxes down, which is really unfortunate because he should have been sat in second, but I'm sure that's something that can be reviewed in the FIA later.
I mean, 3 times there, second, third and fourth, all less than a tenth of a second, less than half a tenth, separating those 3 drivers on a fresh set of softs. And we've already seen Xerxes has got more to show, so I say qualifying's only the beginning. The fun part is obviously when those 5 red lights go out, and then we can see what these guys do against each other.
Yeah, Bannister commenting, saying these are AL1 times. Don't have that information at the moment, but they are pretty rapid times.
I was going to say, don't flatter us. I'd be happy with that time.
What was the times in AL1? I can't recall.
We were crossing the 1:30 mark. I believe, I could be wrong here, but I think Glock, who snatched the pole, got 1:29 or something like that. It was very similar times, to be fair, with Cal at the moment.
I think that must have been Monday rather than Wednesday, because he wasn't in on Wednesday.
Beg your pardon. Gonna say, that's what happens when you run China 2 races 2 times in 1 week. But no, to be fair, Cal and Xerxes both showing what they could do against the AL1 pot on Wednesday and put up a very good fight.
Yeah, Cal nearly 2/10 up on his time. Woody 1/10 up on his time, but not a purple sector. James, he's invalidated. He's not going to be able to set a lap now. So let's see how this progresses with Cal and Woody.
Now, if you Cal, do you know you're safe? Do you put it back in the box and save the tyres?
Cal has invalidated. So Woody is the only one who can improve, and Woody sets a purple sector 2, going nearly 2.5 tenths quicker than his previous best. 2.5 tenths.
The last part of the track looks very simple, but it's easy to lose or make time here.
Yes.
Even though it is just a straight line with a couple of corners. Very generic comment, but
well, yeah. A purple sector 2 and beating his time by personal best by 2 tenths would not get him pole at the moment.
10th up in the first sector, like you say, so has he saved any battery? He's going to run out again just as he comes round to the final corner, though. Straightens up the car as soon as possible. DRS wide open, and where's it going to put him as he runs across the line? A 1:30.9. So close to snatching that pole position from Cal.
Yeah, that puts him into second, but Xerxes would have been in that second place had his lap not been invalidated. So really unfortunate for the Red Bull driver, but that does complete our qualifying session here in China. And we have Cal on pole with a 1:30.7, a very impressive time. Then we have Woody in second, Appleplex in third, Xerxes in fourth, Prev in fifth, James in sixth, Sega to Cos in seventh, Old Dad Rules in eighth, A Letdown Estate in ninth, CHM in 10th, Maxi in 11th, and Blood and Sand in 12th, who has not set a time. I didn't spot that, but yes, Blood and Sand has not set a time.
You weren't the only one. I didn't spot that either until you just pointed it out, so we're clearly the most observant ones here.
Xerxes on the comments, sadly blocked. Oh well, it was unfortunate, but that is racing. But any feelings like that, we just have an FIA and stewards who can review footage and assign penalties if they feel they are deserved anyway.
Well, like I say as well, it's more the fact of, okay, he's a position or two down than where he would have been, but we've still got a long race to go. There's a lot of time and anything can happen with rain in the middle. There's no point giving up just yet. There's plenty of things can happen where you can change a race around.
Yes, and is the soft tyres going to be the best tyres to start this race on? The top 5 or 6 drivers are locked in on the softs. Then we've got a few medium runners behind. And 11th and 12th will have free choice for tyres, but they might have a more updated version of the weather report. So we'll see where that rain falls. But as I said, Cal, top of the table at the minute for AL2. He's won his first 2 AL2 races. So here in round 3, he's got pole again. So that's his second pole of this season. Can he bring home the win again and do the hat trick? But then in second place on the table, well, I should have said joint second place, we have a Letdown Estate and Prev, both on 45 points, both having picked up a podium each. And then very closely behind, only by 1 point, we've got Old Dad's Rules in fourth, who also picked up a podium. Then on the podiums as well, last race, we have James, also known as Strident C. He is fifth, only 3 points behind second place. So impressive stuff there, but the McLaren drivers are holding up the table for the constructors in AL2. But that brings me on to the joint constructors for wheel to wheel, because now AL1 and AL2, the constructors' points count towards an additional combined championship for wheel to wheel. And it's very tight at the top of that table also. We've got Ferrari and Red Bull joint at the top of the combined constructors with 162 points. But McLaren close behind, only 12 points behind in third. Williams is behind them in fourth, behind by 26 points. Then we've got Renault, only 30 points behind first place, and Racing Point only 40 points behind first place in sixth. So very tight in that combined constructors. So a result today will dramatically change that table, and if McLaren carry on the form they are, they will be not only at the top of the constructors for AL2, but they will be top in the combined constructors also.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I didn't realise how close it was in regards to the combined constructors. Puts a little bit pressure on what happened on Wednesday even more, I guess, then.
Yes.
Sorry, Chris.
For those who aren't aware, All Shot Down was racing on Wednesday. It crossed the line 6th and then finished 10th, was it?
Yeah.
A couple penalties that was picked up, and late safety cars. And, we also had an incident with a safety car, which I believe shouldn't have been called. So it kind of upset a lot of strategies for drivers, and then kind of completely turned the race on its head. And a few people lost positions where they wouldn't have had that safety car not come out, and All Shot Down unfortunately suffered the most because he crossed the line 6th, but because of the penalties he had and the fact that everybody else had been able to catch back up for free under the safety car meant you dropped down. But comment on the stream, AL2 says Red Bull will be higher. Oh, would be higher, sorry. Those pens.
Hopefully you were. I was hoping you weren't going to see that one, but to be honest, it was still a fun race, and I mean, you know, fellow commentator who couldn't make it tonight, Matty. It was all worth it putting a move on in with 2 corners to go on the last lap. So, still looked good, even if the result wasn't there at the end.
So you don't mind dropping 4 places just to gain 1 on Matt?
Well, yeah, it makes up for Melbourne, where he got the better of me there. So.
It's the on-track position that counts. That's all that matters, you know.
Exactly. It's racing for pride at that point.
Right, whilst we finish our 5-minute break, I will just have a quick comfort break, and I will be back on and to remain for the rest of the race. But quick last comment, Matt, I let Olsgaard past because I saw his pens. I'm glad I read pens because I thought I read something else.
If he was so lucky. But let me pass. I don't know about that one. But anyway, if Wednesday's race is anything to go by, tonight showing how close these guys are at the front with the soft tyres and the medium runners as well, could split the pack early on, but we've seen the softs do make around about that 10 to 11 lap, maybe 14, 15 on the higher end if you look after them. So there is going to be a split and a deficit between the two, and when the first pit window comes around, that's when it is going to be interesting to see where they all shuffle into the pack. It looks like it is fairly easy to overtake around here. You'd be surprised. There's probably maybe 3 or 4 opportune moments. It is a very tough track to pass on. It's very easy to get stuck behind someone, especially if they're on an alternate strategy. So we're just riding on board here, myself personally, with Cal, taking them away here in the McLaren again. Where are we looking back here? The sun is out, so it'll be interesting to see when we do start to see those clouds come over, and how it does affect where they are on track and who is going to be doing what strategy.
So we got 11th and 12th, both opting to start on the medium tyres. First 6 cars are on the soft tyres, and then the second lot of 6 cars are all on the medium. So this will make an interesting race. See how the strategies unfold. When will the weather fall? How much will it fall? Because we've seen some races before where the rains fell and it's not gone to the intermediate tyres or anything. It stayed onto slicks. So
I wasn't expecting the walk out there, but don't worry, I tried filling the gap with pretty much what you just said. So.
I did say I was going to go for a quick comfort break whilst the 5-minute break ended, but the countdown had started before I'd left. But better now than during the race, I suspect.
I think one of the important things here is just I want to see everyone get around here for the first lap, nice and clean. You can't win this race in the first corner, so there's no point seeing any debris flying across the track. But I will let you take this one away, Bloom, for the start.
Oh, do I get to do the Matt special?
I'll put you in the hot seat. Yeah.
Okay, we're all lined up in our starting grid. We have the Chinese Grand Prix just about to go ahead. We have 5 lights. Boogity, 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 let's go racing! There we go. And we have a great start from the Mercedes of Appleplex right up into 2nd place already. Cal, a horrible start for Cal, dropping down by his teammate into 4th place, but he runs no traction, so that's probably what the start was all about. But a nice clean couple first corners here on lap 1.
Looked like there was a slight bit of wheel banging near the back of the field between a Red Bull and the Mercedes, but I can't see that there was any debris caused from that, but they got very close where the mix of a couple of the medium runners got ahead of Prev on the softs.
Yep, Prev not even having a good start there. He's dropped a couple positions. Very interesting to see these two McLaren drivers was awfully close together, but much the same as the Ferrari drivers was close, but now there's a 1 second gap between them.
No, I think Woody needs to know. He knows what he needs to do now. He's got the jump on Cal, where the pace was very close. But if he can just break away now and do what we saw very similarly on Wednesday, where you can get away at the front and just try and break that DRS zone before it does activate on the third lap.
Tiny little bit of contact there between Xerxes and James as they was coming round the snail. But down on this 1 kilometre back straight, where slipstream is very powerful. James trying to lose the slipstream of Xerxes there. But Xerxes under braking on the inside down into turn 14. Can he keep hold of that move?
It should be fairly easy for the Red Bull driver to get by him, as it looks like the McLaren has run out of battery deployment for the lap. I don't think he was aware of it though. And interesting to note, we saw a letdown of state there go for the move on Prev, going on just before actually the last the back straight on round through turn 13. Interesting strategy to try and pass before the DRS and the slipstream fest that is that back straight, but he's kept it in front, so it clearly paid off.
Looks like we might have a disconnection already through the form of Maxi. He's got a ghost car there, so I don't know if he's lost connection or not. But you'll have to excuse our timing screen as it has its usual lap 2 confusion. But Woody really running away with this race now. He knows what he needs to do. He took this opportunity of Cal messing up his start, and he is throwing it down the road.
Just want to throw out there as well, I've just noticed as I was just looking over the cars here, Prev, the reason for the bad start here, it looks like he's missing an end plate on the front right side of his car. So that could be the reason why he is dropping down behind these medium runners. Just loss of downforce he's really struggling with, even with the quicker tyres on.
Yeah, that won't be what he wants this early stage of the race. Oh, and we have Appleplex. He must have lost some traction on that snail there, because he was down on the inside and people were passing him. Very tight down in turn 14. We've got a few cars, Appleplex, Sega to cars, James, Old Dad's, all very close together. And Cal not letting Woody run away too far, because Cal having set the fastest lap on his soft tyres.
I'm looking forward to these two guys trading the lap times now, just to see what they can do. And, well, I want to see these guys take it to each other on track, to be fair. They're on the same strategy. Let's watch them go at it.
Got a nice couple close packs of cars. This battle for 5th is quite good at the moment, but we got James at the back. James has really suffered at this start, starting on the softs, but he's dropped behind some medium runners now, so that's not what he's going to want, because he's going to have to use his extra grip on them tyres to make his way past them. But as soon as he's past, these medium tyres are going to be developing better than them softs.
It's taken a couple of corners and he's already got the Haas on the back of him already now. And with the DRS coming up as well, is surely down there, they've got to make a decision down in the Ferrari garage at some point. He's just going to be losing too much time, surely.
Old Dads is really bringing the fight to the Williams driver, Sega to Cos as well. Before the snail, he was right on the back of him, but now with DRS assistance down this 1 kilometre back straight, can he make any move before turn 14? But the straight line speed of that Williams looks like it's going to be hard to beat, which might explain why he was all over the back of him through the tight corners. There's probably more downforce on that Ferrari than there is on the Williams.
We're going to move up the inside there from Blood and Sand on Prev, and slight bit of contact on the apex, but Prev managed to keep the Ferrari in front just for the time being. So he really doesn't want to hold up, let any more positions go in that sense, but I don't think he's going to get much of a choice, as we're going to see the Haas with full overtake and DRS send it round the outside into turn 1 with the grip. Clearly the downforce playing dividends there, and he makes the move.
Looks like Maxi might be back in his car and he's beginning to bring the fight back, but Prev really needing to do something about that front wing because he is falling back. But Cal is right on the gearbox of Woody now.
it'll be interesting to see this, the Red Bull Xerxes as well after the pace he showed he possibly had in qualifying. He's just pulling up onto the back of him as well, so we could be in for a nice three-way fight here for the lead.
Yeah, Old Dads is also very close to the back of Sega, but I want to keep my eyes on this battle as Cal is moving up on the inside around the snail, and he's already in front of Woody before the DRS detection point.
It looked like he had a snap as he was going around there. I was just riding on board with the Red Bull Xerxes, and he just lost the rear and just couldn't find that traction again. And McLaren just had the door wide open and got a dive there nearly from Xerxes up the inside, nearly trying to just follow through on the McLaren.
Xerxes doing really well to go on, keep it on the brakes there, but Old Daz does make the move past Sega to Kaz. Can he keep the position? Because Sega is bringing it back up on the inside of turn 14. Old Daz is in front as we come down the start-finish straight, but Woody's
in the pits already.
In the pits. I thought he was off.
No, he's I saw the position change. I thought Xerxes had gone for a dive into the last corner and no wing change on the car. Just a really early pit strategy. Maybe that slide took a bit of extra life out of his tyres, but something clearly wasn't sitting well with him. So it'll be interesting to see how the undercut works around here.
Blood Sand also making his way past CHM there. So really changing up, but as you say, the pace of the Red Bull driver of Xerxes, he is very close to Cal now, having gotten Woody out of the way, which was an early stop for him. But we'll see how this develops. Alan on the comments, this could be a nice battle if all three front get close. Nice midfield battle for us to watch as well.
Nice to see that they did in the end. Prev did decide to come in there and just change the front wing over. So now we can really just get his head down and get on with his race this evening. Anything can happen. Like I said, we've got the rain to be expected at the midway point, which, if any safety car comes out at this stage, is just going to bunch them all straight back up again for our own enjoyment.
Yeah, we did have some safety cars on Wednesday, and with the change in weather, anything could happen. But Xerxes really using that DRS to get close to the back of Cal. Doesn't look like he can do much on this occasion as Old Dad's picks up the first penalty of the Grand Prix.
Just riding on board here, let down a state as well as he's in the DRS, only 3/10 off the back of the McLaren. I didn't know if he was going to try and get a drive down into turn 1, but he just getting himself closer and closer to the rear wing of the car. Surprisingly, on the softer compound, it's looking like these tyres are going up a lot quicker than they were on Wednesday.
Yeah, James really suffering on them soft tyres here. But his teammate Cal clearly not having too much trouble with them. But he is seeing trouble in the shape of a Red Bull. That's the trouble that Cal is seeing at the moment.
McLaren fight to focus on. Two McLaren and Red Bull duels going on, one for first and one for sixth. Take your pick, really.
Well, there's only 12 points between them in the Constructors' battle also, so this is a very big fight going on.
Just watching as they're through the middle sector, those soft tyres, maybe, to be fair, the track wasn't as hot. Yellow flag?
Yellow flag, we have Appleplex off. He doesn't look to have any wing damage, but he is on the inside of the snail in Sector 3, and that's really not what he would have wanted this early in the race, especially on the softs.
Got to move up the inside on the snail by let down a state there. Dazzy went a little bit wide up onto the curve, lost the drive, they're now running side by side. But the DRS on the Red Bull, surely he's got enough downforce to, less downforce, and that's spent top speed to get him going down into turn 14. And he does, and he's just going to have to make sure he blocks that exit, really, and he plants the car perfectly.
And the McLaren now in trouble from the Haas behind of Blood and Sand.
The track does look like it's eating up the soft tyres this evening a lot more than we've seen before. So it looks like everyone at the moment on the mediums are definitely, at the moment, on the preferred strategy.
James having a look on the inside of turn 1 and 2 on a letdown estate. Can he keep the line? Because now a letdown estate will have the inside of turn 3, but they're very close to each other. Who will have the better traction out? And then bump in, and no! Mark, a letdown estate has come off after colliding with the McLaren of James. That's really unfortunate to see, but James was fighting hard.
The camera angle I had there, I didn't actually see what exactly happened. I saw both cars coming side by side, ironically, wheel to wheel, up through turn 4 and down into turn 5, and all of a sudden the Red Bull disappeared.
Trying to wait to see if we can get a view of a Letdown Estate's front wing, and he's has fine. Both end plates for now. He might have a little bit of damage on there, which might affect his aerodynamics, but really unfortunate to see that. We would have liked to have seen that battle continue throughout, but again, that's racing. Some incidents happen, but we have Blood and Sand now having a look at the McLaren of James, who's still suffering on them soft tyres. He should be quicker than he is right now.
Just keeping a close eye as well on the leading two, only separated by half a second. Depending on how quickly these softs are going to go off, who's going to pull the trigger first, really? McLaren or Red Bull to get their driver in and get the undercut on fresh rubber.
So multiple moves going on the track at one time. We've got Blood and Sand having another look on James again. He's going around the outside of the snail. Very similar to the move earlier made by James on a Letdown Estate, but this time Blood and Sand comes out on top and he is ahead after turn 4.
Just on board here as well now with Red Bull of Xerxes again. Just getting closer and closer to the back of the McLaren. He just doesn't seem he can find that extra bit to get past him as they come onto the back straight. But he's going to try again now as we are on lap 8 already. Wow, this is flying by fast. He's going to be within that DRS detection zone. He's got a bit of extra overtake. He's straight on the button to get the extra power down. And DRS wide open here. Is he going to be close enough? I know it's a long straight, but I don't think it's going to be long enough.
He's suffering with that straight line speed, and Cal has got a phenomenal amount of battery left. But we have a yellow flag in Sector 3, which is in the shape of the Renault of Maxi. He's come off on the snail.
I'm a little bit surprised we've not seen more front wings disappear, to be fair, so far with all these spins. Especially with the Letdown Estate as well, the way that he hit that wall as well on the inside of the track. I'm surprised he's gotten away with that.
Well, he could have some damage, as we say, but we just can't see any end plates missing.
Dazzy in as well now for McLaren. He's finally had enough of the softs. Clearly realising he's just putting up too much of a fight and not getting anything back out of it. So going in and putting on a fresh set of mediums now to do the longer stint.
Xerxes is incredibly close to the back of Cal, the God King himself. Can he get a move done?
I always forget that's the thing.
So this will be something like attempt number 4 or 5 for Xerxes.
I think he's definitely got a catch-22, because if he uses everything to get past Cal and the McLaren, he's then got to make sure he's got enough for the following lap and then try and defend on the exact same part of the track.
Yeah, Cal using a bit of his overtake at the start of the straight there just to get that little extra boost to defend, but Xerxes doing an incredible job chasing. And as you say, it might just depend on who pulls the trigger first and what the weather does.
And then a bit of a mirror attempt here. We've got Woody now on his fresh set mediums compared to CHM, but as we've said before, we know CHM always has a very quick car on a straight line, so with the DRS it just didn't gain enough to have a go into turn 14. He's going to have another go at CHM. He's going to send it up the inside of the Mercedes and make the move before they even get to turn 1. Speed in that Racing Point, nearly called it something else, on the fresh tyres, really showing the pace.
Yeah, typically within a team of the Racing Point, at least one of the pink cars are very fast. I could tell you that much. Yeah, great driving from Woody. Good recovery from his early stop. But maybe his early stop is to do with the weather. Maybe he's predicting a earlier stop than most other people are predicting, so he's done his strategy accordingly.
Didn't think of that, but we're I think it's episode 5 now with Xerxes versus Cal down the back straight in sector 3 with the DRS. Just that McLaren's just pulling away, if anything, nearly down the back straight. So I think Xerxes is going to have to try something a bit different. Most likely, I could see something happening under the pit stop window.
Yeah, I think it would have to be, because he doesn't seem to be able to be making any edgeway there. And as you say it, Xerxes pulls the trigger and he is into the garage. Speaking of the Red Bull garage, we've got Alan commenting on the stream. Red Bull garage nicknames. So Alan is Mr. Clean, because he's the polar opposite to All Shot Down, who gets all the penalties. Mr. Clean gets no penalties. All Shot Down, his nickname is One Lap Down. Xerxes is the god, and a letdown estate is a letdown. That's a bit harsh, but
I was going to say, I like the way that there's 2 positive ones there, and then 2 that not so much.
But Xerxes coming out just in front of CHM, and he's not far behind Woody also. So, but Woody's on relatively
earlier stop.
Yes, but Woody on relatively fresh tyres, so we'll see how these two compare on pace now, because that's back to the first lap battle that these two was having. But what is Cal going to do?
He's got to come in this lap to cover. We can see here the softs have just started going up. He's extending the stint, which is going to pay dividends later on in the race for him. But the difference in grip we saw between the mediums and the softs, as they did hit the cliff at that stage, it was just so much, and surely it's not a risk he wants to take.
Well, the question would be, again, I'll keep saying it, when is this rain going to come? If Jeff is saying 10 minutes until rain, then Cal surely should come in and put on some softs, or if he wants to push it further, he could get a few more laps out of these softs, which they will do, and go on another set of softs for another 15 laps.
He could be pulling a Hamilton, though his tyres could be dead, and we could see a fastest lap just spring up on the leaderboard. So, you know,
these tyres are dead. Fastest lap. My seatbelt's broke. Fastest lap.
Xerxes now just bordering on that 1 second gap now to the back of Woody as well already. So I wish we had one of those diagrams you see in the race, certain laps till undercut or time difference, because right now Xerxes must be within that window, if not ahead by this point.
But Xerxes doing a fantastic job closing that gap to Woody. Also see Prev is quite close to Appleplex, so we'll just try and keep an eye on that battle also. But Xerxes looking to make a move here. He's really putting the pressure on Woody.
Be interesting to see if he gets the same resistance as he did from the McLaren, lap after lap. He's surely not going to want to repeat here from the pink car.
Well, we'll see on how the downforce compares with the DRS assistance. Both drivers.
Sorry?
Both drivers on the overtake, so they're both looking to defend, but Cal has come into the pits now.
I was just about to say, at the same time we see Cal come in, so it's going to be close to see where he comes out in retrospect to these two drivers while they are squabbling still.
Yeah, Six is doing a great job coming around these final corners
Cal's
behind Woody.
Going to be a close one, as Cal is just leaving the pits now as they're all coming down into turn 1.
And we see Cal, but these cars are well ahead, so the undercut did work pretty well. But Cal has got an extra couple laps on them tyres, but Xerxes is incredibly close to the back of that racing point.
I can't imagine what it's like to be stuck behind a racing point while driving a Red Bull. It must be infuriating.
Yes.
And as I say that, what a dive! He has just had enough. He sent it and he's made it stick. That is a dive bomb that even Danny Rick would be proud of.
I was going to say, is that Daniel Ricciardo's helmet I can see in that cockpit? Because that was a Danny Rick move. That was incredible. The same move he made on Bottas on that corner in China previously. Shows
as well that Woody didn't want to give the position back, because he did stick the nose up the inside through turns 7 and 8 as well, trying to get back at him.
Xerxes knows that was a very important move, because now Woody has got Cal right on his gearbox, so that is going to cause trouble for the Racing Point, which might buy Xerxes a couple laps off the pressure, as them two are going to be battling.
As the Racing Point has the DRS as well, he's going to be able to defend a bit easier.
No, and it more looks like Woody's trying to have a go at Xerxes, and Woody is up on the inside, rather tight on that apex there at turn 14, but now Xerxes has got the inside line for the final corner, and he's already ahead. Incredible racing here, but what can Woody do down the start-finish straight? He does not have a lot of overtake to use, but he's got DRS assistance, and he's up on the inside of turn 1, but made contact.
Just about to say, don't send a move into turn 1, have the patience. It's not the easiest sort of corner to send one on, and he's unfortunately done it. But just want to touch quickly back on your stream there, Bloom, on the thing. We've got a message from Bannister, God kidding, nice move.
I've seen it come up saying there was a message, but I can't actually see it.
That's fine, that's why I'm hiding in your stream as well.
Giggity. But Cal now back on Xerxes. Unfortunate of Woody to send that move there and to come off like it did. But I keep saying it, it's racing, but if anybody feels hard done by, we have an appeals procedure where the FIA can review footage. But yeah, as Allshot was going to be saying it, you know, it's a dangerous place to send a move into turn 1.
I know it's very Eddie Jordan of me to say in that respect, you know, being unbiased, obviously, commentating all of this, but you just don't send a move up the inside like that into turn 1, personally. It just never ends well.
The straight line speed of that McLaren of Cal doesn't seem to be having the same effect in the slipstream of the Red Bull, which is very strange.
Unless even after that, I'm sorry. Carry
on. Go on.
I was just going to say, to be fair, even after the spin as well, Woody did drop 7 seconds back, but he hasn't lost any actual position on track. So, dropping the 1 position to Cal, if you look at it that way, he's got a bit of open track now where he can just compose himself and try and crack back on.
Yeah, whilst all this is going on, Maxi looking at the back of the Mercedes of CHM. So, but when is this weather coming? The clouds look pretty clear for now. I don't know how clouds can look clear, but never mind.
I mean, on Wednesday we saw, keep saying Wednesday, I'm completely wrong again. We've seen in races before even, like on Monday, racing the same track twice in a week has really scrabbled me in. But yeah, it's, the rain cleared up within the space of a lap or 2. As soon as it started lightening up, it was gone. We saw a dry line, so we could have the exact opposite, where blink and you miss it in that side of it.
Cal really sticking to that 8/10 of a gap behind Xerxes, but Maxi having better luck catching CHM, braking early to make sure that he doesn't catch the back of him as Cal sets the fastest lap. But Maxi round the final corner, DRS open, chasing CHM. He doesn't seem to be catching him as much right now, but we'll keep an eye on that battle as it develops.
I think Cal's just sat here biding his time now, just having a look at the battery deployment here. Cal sat with a nearly full deployment there, and he just put in the quickest lap as well in the other laps, so he's just going to be biding his time, and I think he's going to just save up for that one big push, just to know he can then try and get ahead of the Red Bull.
Yeah, this was a discussion on the previous stream about Cal's battery deployment, and he seems to not use it very much at all, and I think he's doing what he was describing before about just trying to extend the tyres, just coasting behind this Red Bull now, because the straight line speed we've seen of him as Xerxes was on the attack. We can't seem to see that straight line speed here, but he's much closer to the back of him this turn, so if he doesn't make a move now, as he's got his overtake button on, nearly up alongside of him as he crosses the DRS line. And up on the inside on turn, seemed like a move there, really. But can Xerxes reply? No. Sorry, go on.
I was just about to say, just watching Maxi and CHMs, they come very close. It looked like there was a slight bit of contact, but didn't, from what I see on the camera angle, any end plate disappear. So the Renault getting not a bit impatient, but he's definitely trying to make his move now on the Mercedes.
I've had a couple years behind CHM before. He's a very difficult man to try and overtake. He's got a strong line, but Xerxes, his line starts at the gearbox of that McLaren because he is incredibly close. He's lost the position, but he does not want to let him go at all. But Woody now 11 seconds behind, so Woody seems to be suffering now at the minute. Is either because he's outside of the DRS train, or he's suffering for other reasons. Maybe he picked up a little bit of damage from that contact.
Just wanted to have a quick touch as well back onto, well, our current race leader and second place, Old Dads and Sega. Sega has been slowly creeping into that 1 second gap here to get onto the attack. Both of them still running, well, even Blood and Sand as well in third, all on 16, 17 lap old mediums, really pushing these tyres out.
Yeah, their strategy seems to be working quite well. You know, we wouldn't have seen the pace from these at the early stages like we did with the soft runners.
Just going to ride on board with Maxi as well, and he's right on the gearbox of the Mercedes CHM, the DRS wide open, his battery deployment pretty much at zero now, and he's going to send it straight up the inside, but as he had enough time to do so, nearly come together, he still kept on the inside. CHM manages to get the Mercedes just up and around the outside to keep him going.
Incredible race awareness there from these two drivers.
I want to close my eyes every time I see two cars go side by side into that first corner.
Yeah. Oh, that was incredibly close also, but Maxi right up on the inside, but completely overshot that corner, so hands the position back to CHM. He tried a Danny Rick Xerxes move on CHM there, but couldn't pull it off. Didn't have that same brake pedal. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, Cal's managed to creep into the DRS of the Hearts of Blood and Sand here, so he's managed to eke the gap out to Xerxes to nearly that second mark as it just crosses over, but the Red Bull driver does have the DRS this time round, but Cal's not waiting for anyone, he's just going to send it straight up the inside. He's just going to get on with his race, he's got the fresher rubber, he wants to now try and bridge the gap to the Red Bull just so we can breathe a little bit more.
That's it, he's got a buffer now between him and Xerxes, so Xerxes has got Blood and Sand to overcome before he can, but Sega is in the pits. I was seeing on the radar he was off. I keep catching the bubble at the wrong time, the little circle. I was like, oh my god, he's off! But no, he was in the pits.
No, it's an exciting pit stop, but it will be interesting to see what he goes on to tyre choice-wise. And he goes in onto another set of mediums as well. Okay, so first of the, well, starters in that sense who are on mediums to make their stop. To chuck on another set of the same compound.
Coming out just in front of Maxi. He looked like he was struggling coming out of the pits there.
Yeah. I don't know what was going on. It looked like he left his pit limiter on or something, but he, just about to say, he came out right in front of this battle where I've missed it, but Maxi has made the move eventually on CHM.
Yeah, incredible stuff to develop there, but I must jump to Xerxes as he is right on the back of Blood and Sand. So DRS assistance down this 1 kilometre back straight can get speeds of up to 200 miles an hour plus. Can he get the overtake done down here? He doesn't have much overtake to do it. He's closing down into turn 14, but it would have to be under braking if he gets the move done. Sending Blood and Sand wide around the outside. A little bit of contact.
An encouraging nudge there, just to make sure he got in front, but the elbows were out.
I think Blood was expecting him to not quite be there, but as you probably was about to say, old dad rolls just into the pits.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know he hasn't gone off the track, and that was all. That was my only concern. But that was the one thing I just wanted to say, just so you don't worry. It was okay. He's in the pits for another set of mediums.
Where is he going to come out? Because he was having a battle with Sega, and he has come out in front of Sega, but we know that Sega was struggling a little bit as he came out.
Just going to keep an eye on now on the fast driver of Blood and Sand in that sense, as he's the highest runner still on those first mediums, and to just throw it out there as well. We've still got a couple nearer the back of the grid here. Letdown Estate, CHM and Maxi all still on the same tyres they started on. We've seen how far Letdown Estate can take those tyres, like we saw in Melbourne, for example. Just want to see where these guys do eventually end up. When is this rain going to happen?
I was just about to come on to that, 'cause Blood and Sand do an incredible job to be in third place without a stop, but that cloud is coming.
And not so clear anymore.
It's not so clear. The cloud is not clear. But comment on the stream, Matt, our other commentator, is saying, go on Xerxes. Clearly a fan of the God King, and we can see why.
I mean, I'd probably go and say he's a fan of Red Bull, to be fair. Looking at their lineup this year, I don't blame him.
If you do say so yourself. I'm a fan of Red Bull as well.
3 out of the 4 drivers, though, yeah.
So, Old Dad's is the only one with the penalty. Old Dad's the only driver with the penalty at the moment. As we say, Blood and Sand, Maxi, CHM and a Letdown Estate all having not stopped yet. When is this rain going to fall? Speaking of a Letdown Estate, he is incredibly close to CHM. When did that happen?
Just now, you pointed it out.
Cool.
To be fair, it is starting to really get grey. The sky, even get my words out, is starting to get grey. So, a handful of laps maybe, and we could start seeing those first droplets hit the track.
Yeah.
And it looks like that is what these 4 drivers are still hoping for. Blood, CHM, Letdown, and Maxi. Just trying to eke it out. And, oh!
What happened there?
I don't know if CHM was losing the grip there and just trying to back off a bit to centre the car for the second part of the corner, but clearly caught a Letdown Estate off guard altogether. He's just not had the luck this evening when it comes to trying to get past some of these drivers.
I blame Allshot because talking all the Red Bull stuff, and then just, someone thought, nah, I want to break up Red Bull wing.
So really you're blaming the Mercedes in that respect?
No, I'm blaming your commentator's curse to enforce more bad luck onto a Letdown Estate, who's already had bad luck this race with the collision that happened earlier on in the race between him and James, but now 20-lap-old mediums. Well, this is it.
Yeah, he will. There we go. He's going to stay out to the rain, I think. He's come this far. What's a couple extra laps? He's still in the DRS as well. Well, just under at the moment on the Mercedes. So he's shown he's got that bit more pace. Don't know how much that front wing is going to affect him though.
Unfortunate that the back than it would just trying to stick it out on these.
I think if he was to pit now, he's gone past the point of no return.
That's it, yeah. These other long-lasting medium starters are still going, so it just seems to be that is the plan, as I can see some raindrops on the Red Bull chassis there. But how long?
So excited before
I'm so excited about seeing that chassis. But we have got some raindrops here in China as a letdown estate picks up a penalty. He's really not having the Chinese Grand Prix he was hoping for, and he really looked promising at the start of this as well. Really showing some pace, bringing the battle to James, who seemed to be suffering. But James is just behind him as Old Dad's now picks up another penalty. This maybe is a sign that the track is developing and getting wet, which seems pretty quick. You know, these guys have only been going for half a lap in the wet weather, but already people are picking up penalties, whether that's just a massive coincidence or not.
Yeah, it's a shame to see, to be fair, with Old Dad and Sega as well, where they only stopped 2 or 3 laps ago, how close they were to making it to this window of eventually, well, possibly throwing on the inters if it does keep coming down like this.
Well, yeah, but we've seen it like this before. As I previously said, you know, you can have weather like this and it be slicks the best tyre for another 5 or 10 laps. At which point, Old Dads and Sega would be killing it.
Gonna say, it does look like it is meant to dry up as well, according to the forecast nearer the end of the race. So if it does get heavy enough for anything, we could just be looking at the inters, not the full wets.
Chewy asking on the comments, who's the God King? Xerxes, the man himself. Let's see how he's getting on. He's really dropped back now from
Just want
Cal.
to quickly catch up here as well. Sorry to interrupt. Old Dad's making a move on Woody here on the fresher mediums down the outside with the DRS, making the most of it while it is available, because it doesn't look like we are going to keep this DRS for much longer if it does keep going this way.
Nobody's come into the pits just yet, but Woody, I've seen him defend a few times down that back straight. He likes to try and take on that inside line, but as we're talking about the back straight, we've got a letdown estate in James and CHM. A letdown estate making the move on CHM, and we must
slight
note
pinch into the braking zone there, but I think that was a bit of a look what you've done here. Is some back.
Yeah, a letdown estate doing this with one end plate missing. You know, got a comment on that? And we've got James up on the inside. I was reading the comment, but then seeing back on the track that James had made a move up on the inside of CHM. And he's incredibly close to the back. A letdown, and he's touching the back of a letdown estate. Again, there's contact between the Red Bull and the McLaren. Pace. Comment who the God King was. I said it's Xerxes, and he's saying I think his name's Steve. But the man who by the name of James is really bringing the fight back to a letdown estate now. A letdown estate picking up a little bit of dirt on the inside of the first corner for the snail, and James is already on the inside, holding a very tight line. Don't want to go close to that curb. He has DRS assistance, but the straight line speed of the Red Bull means that he is pulling up alongside. A letdown estate on the into turn 14, and he reclaims that position back from the McLaren. Incredible,
very
in
impressive
there
as well. Yeah, especially with no DRS and half a front wing effectively. He's really showing what he can do with the damage. It's a stellar drive in that respect.
Oh no, and both a letdown estate went in to defend the inside line, but James was going in that same direction. A letdown, knowing where to place his car on this track.
just behind them as well. We've got the two Mercedes are now together. Apoplex caught right up to the back of CHM now. Again, both on extremely old mediums in that respect, 7 laps difference. So we've got two battles very close on track.
Yeah, and I think Woody has just overtaken Old Dad's as James fires it up the inside of a letdown estate. There's too many battles going on.
Just about to say. I don't know if we'll see CHM let his teammate through here. They're clearly both good on similar strategies, but if there is a call for a change of tyres, it's clearly going to hold one of them up.
Yes.
If they do try to do the double stop. Apoplex losing the rear there, so the track is getting worse in the condition because he had a slight bit of a slide which did send him across the inside of the corner, picking up unfortunately his first penalty.
Yeah, I've seen Old Dad's picking up another penalty, so I do believe Old Dad's has got 3 penalties now.
Blood and Sand has pulled the trigger on the pits, so is this the time to put on a set of inters? What has he gone for?
He has gone
and he
for
has.
inters.
It's a fresh set of inters to show what can be done. If this is the right call here, this could have been a very big decision.
To Apoplex, who was on grass at the time, so I don't really know what was going on there, but I was expecting to see a move, but we've got James picking up his first penalty, and Apoplex is well off. He's really having some trouble here. I don't really know what's going on with the Mercedes driver, but I think
he wasn't going into the pits blue. He actually went off. Okay.
I'm thinking of riding on board for a short while with Blood and Sand, who's doing okay on the inters. They're probably as good as the slicks at the moment.
And while you're doing that, I'm just keeping an eye on this ongoing battle of the Ferrari of Old Dads and the Racing Point of Woody. Again, coming on round the snail onto the back straight. Ferrari's very close to the back of the Racing Point. It'll be interesting to see at what point they do have the DRS deactivated. No, it's still available to the Ferrari. And he's straight on the overtake button as he's just going to reel it in with the slipstream. The Racing Point goes to the inside to defend, but it looks like the Ferrari could have him before the braking zone. And he does. The move is back up to 3rd for Old Dads.
Yeah, keeping an eye on the delta for Blood and Sand. It looks like he's dropped to 2nd there as Woody fires it into the pits. So does Woody now think it's time to go for the inters? But Blood and Sand doesn't seem to be improving much on them intermediate tyres that he has on at the moment. But Maxi really struggling with the traction on the back end coming out the final corner. What is Maxi going to be doing? No, Maxi is carrying on.
I just want to say as well, we've got a 4-way battle really going on here nearly for 9th place. A left-hand mistake, CHM, Apoplex and Prev, all running on very worn mediums. And all near each other on track when it comes to it. Looks like CHM got a bit of a slide coming out of the hairpin, and Apoplex sending it up the inside by the looks of it into the last corner. No, he thinks twice and goes for the pits.
It's going to be a game changer when people are ready for the pits, and Apoplex was never going to slow down in time for that.
That looked like it was a very last-minute decision. Maybe there was a decision amongst the drivers and the team there on track, because obviously we can't hear that communication, but we got a yellow flag in sector 3.
The God King is off on the snail. That is not what he was going to wanted. But I know that Xerxes runs no ABS, so he's probably really struggling in these conditions to get the traction on the brakes.
And I just want to cut back to Prev, who's just gone up the inside of CHM as well, going into turn 6, going to the middle sector. So again, these drives are really giving us a lot to look at this evening.
A lot going on. Really don't know right now if the intermediate tyres are the tyres to go onto or not. I don't believe they are just yet. But we have Apoplex, Blood and Sand and Woody. Old Dads has now pulled the trigger.
I think that's my probably favourite quote you've ever said. The God King has lost it on the snail.
But Blood and Sand has just made his way past Woody, both of them on the intermediate tyres. But Woody trying to bring the fight back. He's just not got the traction on them intermediate tyres to do anything in response.
It looked like Blood and Sand was using the ERS deployment just to get the drive out the hairpin as well, to make sure his car was in front. we've got Maxi's in us now for a set of soft tyres on the Renault.
Ooh, I'm not sure if that was what he planned, but maybe it was, because we haven't had DRS disabled yet. Is it going to go to a wet track?
No, but if those softs have got any grip at all at this stage, he's going to have to make the most of them in the next couple of laps.
If these softs have got grip, then he's going to be the fastest man on track. And it's one of them where, you know, you need the racing gods, not the God King, the racing gods to decide, is it going to be a wet track? Is it going to be classified as a wet Grand Prix? Is the intermediate tyres going to be quicker than the slicks?
The fact that Let Down Estate is still out there on 27 lap-old tyres, same with CHM as well. In the conditions they're in, I can't imagine what the percentage they're on, how worn those tyres must be.
With a missing end plate. But Maxi has absolutely thundered that gap down to Prev. So must flick to James. James is breezing his way past Woody, who's on the intermediate tyres, but Woody is not giving the battle up easy. But Prev and Maxi also in a battle. I think I'm going to drop down to that because
I was going to say they got very close. The Let Down Estate had to lift off, I think, due to the lack of downforce at the front. The Ferrari nearly running into the back of the Red Bull as he moves to block the Renault, to defend in that sense to the Renault, going down at the end of the straight, placing his car, but just couldn't get it slowed down enough. How's he going to come back onto the track there? Nicely gave each other enough room as contact between the Ferrari and the Renault. Prev and Maxi coming together there, I think. Prev was just trying to take avoiding action to give a Let Down Estate some room to come back on. And I don't think he was expecting Maxi to be on his on his outside.
Woody is now pitted for a fresh set of medium, so it does not look like this is going to be a wet Grand Prix. We still have rain falling, but people are now pitting for slick tyres.
Well, we've also got two cars on very worn mediums, both missing end plates close together on track, so it'll be interesting to see what side of the end plate pays more of an effect. Really.
Well, Maxi
I believe it is the opposite ends.
Maxi did come in. Ooh, and the Let Down Estate is off.
I think he got a knock there from Prev. Prev slowed down to let him take the position back in good sport.
Yeah.
I think just missed his braking point a little bit there. First time round the course, with end plate missing. And yeah, as you believe you said, Apoplex off on the Inters.
Yeah. I don't think the Inters are the tyres to be on right now, because as I was trying to say, Maxi, before a Let Down Estate and Prev had their little off, Maxi was 3 seconds in front of a Let Down Estate and Prev, who he only took half a lap before. So fresh slicks are the ones to be on, as we will see now as Woody is already on the back of Prev, firing it on the inside of the snail. Prev going very wide to come out of the way. Of course, DRS is still activated as Woody is now thundering down this 1 kilometre back straight towards the Red Bull of a Let Down Estate.
Very hard to tell what it is actually like, because obviously we can only see it. Don't know how these guys are finding their cars handling in that respect. So a little bit of rain, as you've said, can mean just a bit of a greasy track and still slick tyres, as the Let Down Estate is now in. I
was just about to say, if I was a Let Down Estate now, I would be coming in, repair that wing, put on some fresh slicks and burn some rubber. The question is, what is up?
Softs?
Yeah.
On the Red Bull. That maybe this shower that we have at the moment, like you said, Bloom, it's not going to be with us, or maybe it's not going to be with us too long. It's not going to affect the drivers on the tyres they need to be on.
Oh, James really pushing his nose really early on blood and sand there. He was never going to make that corner. And a little bit of contact between the two, but thankfully I think they've both come off unscathed. But James now getting another go. He's getting incredibly close to these cars at points where he just needs to hang back. He's got the pace on these tyres. I don't even know what he's doing.
I was just going to say, I just wanted to quickly say Apoplex in for a wing change and a fresh set of hards as well. So he's on those inters for maybe 4 laps, I believe, just a handful of laps, and he's straight back onto slicks.
And we have a yellow flag in Sector 1. Why do we have a yellow flag in Sector 1? No idea, but
Apoplex leaving the pits. I believe he just struggled again on the exit.
Right, okay. As we have Old Dad's in, undoubtedly coming onto some slick tyres.
It looks like the rain has stopped falling. It is just a wet track, so you were correct, Blue. If you were a betting man, you'd have got it spot on.
I need a sound clip.
That was it for the rain.
Just so I can play it to my wife.
You should never play anything I say to anyone.
Except the judge.
Yeah.
But Old Dad's rules, did he come out in front of Prev or did he make the move on track? Because he's only just recently came out.
I think he came out in front, but I was just keeping an eye on CHM after 30 laps on his mediums has finally come in to put on a fresh set of softs. That is one impressive stint. I think he just had to outdo a letdown estate this time for the longest stint on tyres.
Possibly, but he's only done himself over for the fact that he's now come out the pits 11 seconds behind a letdown estate. Nearly 12.
I think those two, even though there is that gap to the likes of Prev on mediums, the time difference is going to be substantial. It already looks like it's brightening up back on track just like that. So, Blood and Sand, for example, he must be coming in this lap. He's in the, no cars really in front or behind him. He's got a bit of a gap.
No, he was overtaken.
Surely they're going to pull the Haas in for a second.
He was overtaken from James a short while ago, and James is now like 8 seconds up the road and climbing. So yeah, no surprise to see him coming in. So I think lap 32. Let's have a fresh rundown of this Grand Prix. We have Cal thundering it out in front. He seems to have had an iffy start with the traction again, but he did get pole, but he's reclaimed that position now. Xerxes unfortunately had an off, but he has been fighting the battle most of the way in this race. Sega de Cos, he was one of the early medium runners who seemed to do quite well. He is now looking to bring the fight to Xerxes, using all of his overtake.
Just keeping an eye on that one for you.
That's cool. And then it's a big drop back then to James, who's been involved in a couple incidents, so I'm not sure the reason he's 30 seconds behind other than that. Maxi on a fresh set of softs, holding up in 5th place. Woody for his return to wheel, he's showing some incredible pace here, but he has had 1 or 2 little unfortunate incidents. Old Dad's good show, fresh soft, so he isn't going to pit again for a while, but as we see the top 4, they're probably not too far away from a pit. Blood and Sand really being unfortunate, one of them on the intermediate tyres. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, you mentioned the gap between the top 3 and the rest of the pack. I think purely just because there's not been as many incidents, but on the basis of the fact that they've not really made that additional stop in that respect, on top of having any mistakes.
Yes, yeah, a few people did come in further down the field, didn't they, and swap tyres.
As we say that, Daz is in with a fresh set of mediums, so looking to go to the end on that.
Yep, I think I said it at the start. Soft, medium, I think is the prime strategy for China, which is exactly what he's ran. So although he was behind, I think he could probably reclaim 4th relatively easy, but he is more than a pit stop away from 3rd.
Now, even though Sega is closing in on the back of Xerxes here, I think he just did enough in the Red Bull to break the DRS detection before the back straight, so that was really well done, as Xerxes is in for his stop. So surely this is another set of mediums as well, just to try and cover off any form of undercut from the guys around him.
But yeah, again, Xerxes, soft, medium, and you'd like to think this is now another set of mediums. And Cal did push his softs a couple of extra laps, didn't he? So he's got a couple of extra laps on this medium set compared to Xerxes, which he could either push or pit. But he's got a comfortable barrier to Xerxes now.
Just keeping an eye on CHM as well. He's just crossing into that 1 second gap on his fresh softs compared to Prev's mediums. So surely this is going to be a very quick move from the Mercedes to get by that Ferrari.
Yeah. To continue the rundown earlier, Letdown Estate holding up 9th place for Red Bull. He's really had an unfortunate start to this Grand Prix. Involved in an incident with James, involved in an incident with CHM. And yeah, real unfortunate. But before that, really showing a promising start, showing a lot of pace, and really coming a long way in AL2 at the moment. He's quite high on the leaders table, so yeah, some good stuff from Letdown Estate. But as you say, Prev soon to see a Mercedes in the shape of CHM close behind him as they're coming down the start-finish straight, both on fresh tyres. But Prev will be able to take them tyres to the end, but CHM likely to have to pit again.
I've only just realised we're already on lap 35. This race is going a lot quicker than it felt it did on Wednesday, I tell you.
Well, yeah, there's been no gap to sort of ponder.
Yeah, they've been all over each other, providing us a lot to watch in that respect.
And then lastly, Appleplex in 12th place, running currently on a set of hards. It was one of these intermediate stoppers. He also had an off, so not the race Appleplex was looking for.
Well, every position does get points, so even just getting to the end, even if there is a gap in 12th to 11th, it's still going to add up for not just the personal championship and the constructors, but the combined as well.
Yes. And Mercedes not doing phenomenally well in the combined constructors, but all points count, as you say. CHM looking to claim a position down this back straight if he can against the Ferrari of Prev. And Prev moving to defend, but CHM very late on the brakes, trying to switch over onto the inside, and that is an incredible move from CHM. But now side by side coming into the final corner, CHM just letting off ever so slightly just to let Prev in front, but DRS is which is not needed because already in front of him before the start finish line.
It's like CHM had set that move up as he went into the hairpin to plan it was for the next corner.
He knew exactly what he was doing there. He let off at the right time, but he's left his overtake button on from what my screen's telling me. So a lot of action going on there. But some good racing.
One of our more longer standing members, CHM, so he's definitely had enough practice playing racing in this league against other drivers to know what he can do to try and get past.
Yeah, and he also knew that he had the grip on soft tyres in comparison to Prev's medium tyres. But he's now going to have to try and build that gap as much as he can, because he will have to stop again.
Saying another comparison between the softs and the mediums, we've got Old Dads on a couple lap old softs as well as Woody on the mediums, and the gap is just coming down and down between the Racing Point and the Ferrari.
So who are we looking for a post-race interview for a podium? The top three look to be pretty set at the moment, because Maxi will have to pit again, so that will drop him down. Woody is, 22 seconds away from podium at the moment. The only change might be Xerxes could reclaim second place, as Sega will have to pit again, but Sega might be pitting onto a set of softs, so he might be coming out with more pace.
If Maxi can stretch those softs out, like we saw Cal do at the beginning, we could be looking. He does have to stop again onto the softs, but as we saw on Wednesday, how even though some drivers had to do that extra stop at the end of the set softs,
but Old Dad's
head to the medium runners.
Having an incredible show with Woody, really showing us that 1.4 second difference between these softs and mediums. Had a look around the outside of turn 14. Is he going to have a look around the outside on turn 1? He just doesn't quite have the pace to go there. But no, he's switched it round onto the inside. And a little bit of contact between the two cars. But Old Dad's
brilliant driving.
Yeah, just about able to keep that car in front of the racing point. Woody was having a little look on the inside there, but decided not to do the move. Maybe a smart move there, because he is on the medium tyres. If he can just stay behind now in the slipstream, keep that toe, he might have a chance under DRS to reclaim the position, or just wait out for the fact that his medium tyres will go further into this race.
Another battle that's just slowly come up here. We've got Blood and Sand and Daz now together on track. The Haas has been reeling in the McLaren, and they're still just stuck together now. So as they're coming onto the back straight, we could have 3 little battles here, looking to change or spice things up this late on in the Grand Prix.
Yeah, Woody looking like he's not able to close that gap, but I'm on board with Blood and Sand now. With DRS assistance, is he able to close that gap? Both on the medium compound, as you said. Is James going to move to defend? He does sort of move to the inside line and under braking. Blood and Sand is sending it round the outside, but James is going wide on the exit. I think Blood and Sand wasn't expecting that to happen as they're coming into the final corner. DRS assistance again. Can Blood and Sand get the move done?
I think after that move, this is just going to encourage him to just try and get the elbows out himself, I think, and get the move done, which he's done around the outside into turn 1. Very impressive.
Yeah, James very tight on the inside. I don't know if he just didn't know where Blood and Sand was, but he almost ran over the inside line of that corner there. Oh, and Old Dad's is off. That looked like a heavy hit. I just flicked to it at the right time and he completely pounded the wall with his tyres, but somehow he's got all 4 still and he's still going. He's got no damage to his wing either.
That's what I was just about to try and get a camera angle on, if I could see his front wing, because again I didn't catch him hit the wall. I just saw him in the gravel trap as I flicked back, so considering how close those two were, maybe got a little bit too much for them in the middle sector and just dropped it with either the dirty air or a friendly nudge.
Yeah, I think we'd have to see some other point of views of that, but I'm not sure how close it was. I'm sure the Delta was saying about 0.8, so I don't know if Old Dad's lost that by himself. But as I say, if there was anything untowards going, we'll probably see a point of view in appeals.
Well, to be honest, when it comes to following cars around this track, Bloom, you being a veteran at that, you know how hard it is to stick with someone around him.
Yes, it can be, but and then when you're trying to stay in front as well, the pressure, sometimes you're just trying to take that corner quicker. And that middle sector too, it's got some long, fast corners, so if you lose a bit of traction, you've already got a lot of pace to then fly off in the wrong direction if you try and correct your turn or anything like that. But Old Dad's just needs to just get back into the groove.
I was going to say, because just like that, Blood and Sand's right on the back of him on his mediums already, so after having that incident, it's clearly taken a lap for him to kind of try and find the pace again, but Old Dad's coming under pressure from the Haas drivers as they go into the middle sector again. It is looking like we could see the DRS ready for the Haas to be used going down there, even with the tyre difference.
Oh, and Old Dad's taking too much of the inside curve there. But this will give Blood and Sand DRS down the back straight. DRS open. Blood and Sand does not have much ERS to work with, but what can he do? Ooh, he's... Dad's fighting it back, coming into the final corner. It was a good attempt there from Blood and Sand, nice and clean. Both drivers seem to be where the other car was, but having a look up the inside of turn 1, but he's backed out a little bit.
I think Old Dad's took a very wide line into turn 1 as well, just in case there was a move attempt there, but I think right now the important thing is he needs to stay in front on those softs. If they've got any pace advantage, he needs to make sure he makes the most of it now before they do have to make their stop before the end.
Yeah, Old Dad's leaving lots of space where he's not sure if Blood and Sand is there, so a lot of respect shown from these drivers.
Talking about pits as well, our leader is in for his fresh set of softs to take him to the end of the race now. So I'm looking forward to seeing what lap times get put in now. Before now, you know.
Yeah, Cal already having scored one fastest lap out of the 3 races so far, or 2 races so far, should I say. So he'll be looking to claim another additional championship point.
It's going to be close, actually, saying that in regards to the fight for third. Just thinking of that, actually, because Xerxes is well within the pit window of Sega after Sega does make the stop, so it's going to be interesting to see how much time he can make back on a fresh set of softs, presuming that's what he is going to be going on to. He must be at this stage.
Just to cover, Blood and Sand got the move done on Old Dad's, but Old Dad's went very, very wide into the snail before the DRS back straight. Oh, Blood and Sand lost a little bit of traction on the final corner, but still stays ahead.
Just cutting back his road to Prev as they come around the snail. He's got a very good drive onto the back of Mercedes CHM. He's pretty much going to make the move before the DRS is even available, and he's got the move done halfway down the straight. And nice, simple overtake there for the Ferrari. However, saying that, he's gone a little bit deep on the braking zone. CHM and Mercedes coming back up on the outside for the switchback, and he's back in front.
That's a great move from the Mercedes.
Pretty sure that's what happened last time. It was just a corner before.
So 42 laps into this Grand Prix of 56. We won't have too many laps now. We've seen a couple of people coming in for the final pit. A couple of these soft runners will probably have to come in again before the end. CHM will let down a state. Old Dad's, Maxi, and Sega likely to have to pit again also.
Dare I say it as well, all 12 runners still going. So brilliant drive from everyone this evening.
Yeah, very well done actually, because we have had a couple instances where it could have been offs. So surprised that Old Dad still has 4 wheels in his car.
I think the same goes for a letdown estate as well after the wars he's been in.
Yes. But Cal already looking at the back of the Williams of Sega, having set a purple sector 2.
He's taken about 4 seconds out of that Williams in the space of a lap and a half.
He's using his overtake now. He's closing that gap that's coming down into turn 14, and under braking is firing it up. We got 132.7 for Cal. Was that his outlap?
Yes.
Did he just get fastest lap on his outlap? Or his first flying lap?
I think that would have been his first flying lap. Yeah,
right, I was going to say.
Yeah. He's done 1 complete lap, 0 laps, because it counts as the outlap as 0 laps at that stage.
Yes,
so yeah, that'd have been his first. I was going to say. Just wanted to throw it out there as a possibility. Probably won't, but considering how a letdown mistake can be on his tyres, could he be taking these softs to the end? Maybe. I mean, it'd be very impressive if he does.
Ooh. Not sure. No, I don't think it's possible. I mean, even for a man of a letdown estate's calibre, when it comes to tyre management, I don't think that would be possible. Pirelli say that these tyres will last 15 laps as it comes in. So that answers the whole question for you. And he does a Lewis Hamilton, and he goes very deep into the pit entry. Thankfully, that is no longer a gravel pit, so he's able to just continue
want to quickly say, Cow just catching up to CHM and Prev to lap them, and in doing so, where CHM backed off, Prev closed right up into the braking zone of turn 14, and because of that, I think Prev has backed off a little bit as well, because he's got Sega not too far behind him as well. So the blue flags could be paying a bit of a dividend with these drivers.
So let down estate now. Looking to recover. I don't think he'll be finishing in 11th place because he's got a couple people in front of him on slower tyres, and also a couple people who will likely to pit.
I think he'll I could see him back up into P9 before the end of the race, maybe.
Yes.
Be a tall ask, but you think CHM possibly has to pit again on the... Well, definitely he should be pit up.
Yeah, CHM will pit again, and he should catch Prev on the mediums.
Yeah. And just like that, where Prev let through Sega, that's worked straight to a letdown estate's advantages. He's up the inside on the snail, on the fresh softs, and he's made that look easy.
Well, this will be the danger now, because he might even have more pace than Sega right now, because Sega's on 24 lap old mediums. He needs to be getting in and getting onto some soft tyres. But thankfully we have ghost cars. I
was just going to say, I think he's going to clear Sega.
But Sega needs to pit now, and he does.
There you go. So he gets the benefit of the DRS, and the car on the lap ahead moves out the way.
So we need to look at the penalty situation, because Old Dads has got 9 seconds of penalties. Let down a state. Could close that gap, but Old Dads is also on some fresh softs, so they could be matched on pace. And it is a big gap between them.
May have done enough here to cover Sega as well. Sorry to just cut there. Sega in the pits onto his softs. 11-second gap to make up in 12 laps? Possible.
Well, include the fact that Sega has a 3-second penalty, so even if he does catch, he will have to overtake and clear by 3 seconds.
Yeah, I'm so used to not paying attention to penalties. Missed that one. Like I say, it's just track position. That's what it's for.
We have 12 laps left of this Grand Prix. Plenty of action to go. We have a letdown estate coming up to the back of CHM, who is due a pit soon. But can a letdown estate get the move done before CHM's pit stop? As we have very clear clouds now. I can't even see a cloud in the sky. They're all that clear. And CHM doesn't pit.
I'm hoping to see something here in the battle for 5th. Again, I double need to check the penalties in regards to them. Blood and Sign of Maxi. Maxi's getting close to the back of the Haas on the fresh softs, but possibly could see move in the next couple of laps because Riley's closing him in.
Sorry to interrupt, but a letdown estate took it up the inside of, is that turn 4 or 5 in sector 1, and he's ahead.
The left kink or the right kink?
The left kink. There we go, let down estate. Now 24 seconds behind Old Dad's on a similar strategy at the moment, so that will be a tall order, but for a letdown estate he'll probably stick in it and go for it and just sort of see what happens, because still 11 laps left, anything could happen.
It's really about an 18-second gap, to be fair. If you look at the deficit of the 6 seconds in penalties,
yes,
makes it a lot more realistic and probably a lot more doable if he's thinking about that as well, because we know these drivers can see the penalties on their timing screens as they're driving, so that could just give him that little bit more motivation to try and push harder.
but Maxi now getting close to blood and sand, but we have a Mercedes in the mix as well. Who's that? Is that Appleplex? Yeah.
And he's still going strong on his mediums. He's not given up, which is always nice to see.
You want about Appleplex on his hards?
Yeah, that one. It's the clear clouds, mate, again.
Yeah. And then damn clear clouds. And Woody is into the pits. Is that a smart move? Could Woody have gone to the end of the race and then... Would he start on mediums? I can't recall now.
I'm going to be honest, I can't either. There's so much stuff happening. No, he started on softs.
Yeah, so
he was on the second. He was on the front row of the grid, wasn't he? Yeah, he led. Yeah, he was on softs. So maybe he's going for fastest lap.
So he's probably got a soft
to drop
medium.
2 positions in doing so.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that strategy call, but it depends on how he felt on their mediums. But he's pitted and places seconds behind Maxi. 8.
Yeah, and just jumping on board with Old Dad's here as well, as he's all over the back of the McLaren already. Is he going to make the move before the DRS detection point? Is he just going to wait and hold it into the braking zone? Sits behind, which is probably the better decision to do, just to make sure it makes it pass even easy, makes your job less stressful, as they do come onto the back straight.
Defending the inside. DRS. He has got the pace. And the traction of them soft tyres on that Ferrari really showing, but James firing up the inside on the final corner. DRS assistance open, both of these wheel-to-wheelers across the line, but James just pulling the gap back just before turn 1, putting it in.
Oh.
Off back James, let him off a little bit.
That's very Mansell PK-esque, to be fair, going side by side at those speeds into turn 1.
Well, it was a better side turn 1 than that state. Really, as he was wanting them to, but we'll be having another look on him on this back straight, and he's already into the back of his gearbox. Old Dad's let off right back now, so he's outside of DRS and is.
I think I lost you a little bit there in the middle of all of that. I missed what happened. All I can see now is there's a Ferrari missing an end plate.
Yes, yeah. Bit of contact between the McLaren and the Ferrari. The Ferrari's just going into the back of the McLaren. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. Appleplex picking up another 5-second penalty in the pits. Maybe he's going for fastest lap now, but no, he's left the session, unfortunately. But back onto old Dad's, he just sort of dropped back from James quite a bit. I think he touched the back of him a couple too many times and just thought, I just need to let him go. But
from what I caught, it looked like it was very CHM, a let down mistake from earlier on, going through the middle sector. They looked apart and then all of a sudden very close.
yeah, again, if FIA need point of views to review, then that's what they will have to call. But really unfortunate to see these little contacts between some of these drivers, because most of them can do some really good wheel-to-wheel racing, excuse the pun.
I think old Dad's right now, to hold where he is, he doesn't want to push too hard if he's got any loss of grip, because if he does pick up any further penalties, it's going to bring a letdown mistake right into contention back up the PA.
But a letdown estate is on 9. Got a lot of penalties across the board now. We've only got 3 drivers without penalties, which is Cal, Xerxes and CHM. Cal and CHM, typical no penalty drivers.
Looks like here as well, Dad's is going for another stab at the McLaren. Again, in the middle sector. It's going to send it up the inside with missing an end plate as well. That was a very bold idea to try. Nearly again coming together with the McLaren on the exit of the corner.
Yeah, old Dad's has definitely got the pace to get past James. He just needs to be able to do it on track.
I think he needs to just get the right timing, but as well, I missed that. James is up to 6 seconds worth of penalties as well, so while these guys are squabbling, he's bringing the gap down, not by much, but I think the Rebel of a letdown estate's ready there to pounce if he's needed.
Well, yeah, old Dad's already missing an end plate, so that might make his final few laps ever more difficult.
Could see a good fight for 4th in the closing part of the race here between Maxi and Blood and Sand as well. Yeah, just teetering around that DRS detection. The Renault driver desperately trying to get inside that, just to try and make his life a bit easier. Both drivers using a lot of their battery lap after lap, just to try and keep where they are.
Old Dad's must be getting frustrated at this moment, because it's clear he has the pace, but he just can't seem to get the move done on James at the minute. He seems to be close to him at all the wrong parts of the track to get an overtake done. We'll see old Dad's having another attempt at overtaking James. DRS assistance down this 1 kilometre back straight. Seems to have had a better exit from the snail there. Nearly out of battery. James moving to the inside. James is covering off the inside line. But this has put Old Dad's on the inside line. James has been pushed very wide. Where's he gone? He's still there. He's still in front.
He kept the position off track, but he's backed off, so he may have had the position back come up there, as he did make the move over the white line.
Side by side through turn 1 and 2, and Old Dad picks up a warning for that, and it's... Oh,
and he's spun as well.
He's getting really frustrated with himself, but that is going to play into a letdown estate's hands as he can close that gap, and with less penalties he may be picking up that position. 9 seconds
the gap now between the two drivers, effectively, if you include penalties. And I've somehow missed this. Maybe there was a mistake from Maxi there, because he's dropped to nearly 3 seconds off the back of the Haas, and Woody in the racing point is all of a sudden within his DRS zone.
Well, I think Woody was always catching Maxi. It's just something that we haven't had in our eyesight, I think, because when Woody came out of the pits on them fresh softs, he was taking time out of Maxi.
I like my description better.
Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. It looks like he's getting ready to make quick work of the Renault. He's got the racing point planted where he needs it, and having a look up the inside into turn 2.
He's going to
try and carry that round the outside of 3, and just on the left kink of 4, and up into 5. He's going to have the inside now down into 5 and 6. That is the move done. Brilliant overtake.
But how do penalties come into play there? They are all on 3 seconds.
Just got to quickly throw it out there. Sorry to interrupt, but Old Dad's slowing down to let Cal through as he's being lapped. The gap between a letdown estate and Old Dad's 10 seconds, including you take away the penalties. That's less than a second between them now for 8th place.
That is. Which just goes to show, if you stick in there, why? Oh yeah, his car's ghosty because of Cal overtaking him and lapping him. But Cal, you know, I haven't talked about him much this race, to be honest, because he is now nearly 21 seconds in front of Xerxes, coming into the last couple laps. Sega looking like he's going to be finishing off the podium. But he's 4 seconds, 4.5 seconds behind Xerxes. I'm not sure how much he can do to close that gap now to take the second step, because Sega is the only one in the top 3 with penalties.
Just want to quickly give a quick notice here as well to Blood and Sand, if you say best of the rest in that respect off the podium, to at one point be on the intermediate tyres and to end up still in 4th place with only 3 laps to go.
Yeah, definitely. He's recovered quite well from the intermediate stint, having done 4 stops, and as you say, to be in 4th place. But he may very well be under threat from Woody. The move will have to be done pretty soon.
At this point, a letdown estate is within the gap on the penalties as well, 4 P8 on Old Dad's. You might have to check this one with me as well, Bloom. I don't know if it's just on my system, but just riding on board with Woody here. He's got the little yellow indicator coming up on his fuel, so that does mean he's dangerously teetering on what he's actually got to get to the end of the race.
Yeah, but as we're coming near to the final lap, well, yes, that yellow icon does indicate he's got less fuel than there is laps left, and he is the only one. Everybody else has got enough fuel to finish the race, but that might be why he's not closing the gap to Blood and Sand very quickly. He might be in lean, trying to do some fuel saving.
Yeah, depending on how much he has to save. He's got Maxi behind him, who doesn't have the issue as well on softs. Hopefully it's not too much for the racing point to lift off, but as I say that, he's out of turn 2 and the indicator looks like it has gone.
Yeah, and by the time these cars have got half a lap left fuel in them. We will see a red flashing light as Cal has begun the final lap of this Chinese Grand Prix.
Minus the start, like you said, this slight issue with traction. It doesn't look like he's put a foot wrong at all again this evening. Just a brilliant drive all around for the McLaren driver.
So has Cal done a soft, medium, soft? Because he started on the softs, didn't he? I think he has.
Yes. Yeah, he did 20 laps on the softs to begin with, and then he stretched out his mediums as well. So yeah, he's actually made a soft, medium, soft work.
And he's got the fastest.
I thought he'd done 3 stops.
Got the fastest lap by about 5 tenths at least as well. So yeah, really good showing here from Cal. Xerxes 18 seconds behind, but he did have an off, and with no safety car this race either. You know, there's been no opportunity to bunch the group up. And Sega Dakars doing a fantastic stint on his medium soft strategy, but you know, we must now go back to Cal as he's just about to round off this Chinese Grand Prix, just as he's about to lap his teammate coming round the final corner. Phenomenal race for the McLaren driver. Cal has won the Chinese Grand Prix.
Yeah, it's not Singapore.
No, not like my intro said, no. But Xerxes, incredible race also, coming round the final corner as we see rain starting to fall again. Sega Dakars rounding off the podium. So incredible racing from these 3 guys and everybody else. As you say, Blood and Sand, best of the rest. First race back at wheel to wheel for a while as well. Again,
not just best of the rest, but didn't he start down in like 12th place? He started at the back, didn't he?
He did start quite far down, so likely to see driver of the day for Blood and Sand.
Yeah, I was going to say he's done a brilliant drive in the Haas car today.
We'll have to see if we can get any of these guys.
Well, sorry to say this really quick, I don't know if a letdown actually caught Old Dad's on track, or was that just due to penalties in the end?
That was due to penalties. Old Dad's is still in front of him. Yeah.
Oh, because they're a lap down. Yeah.
1 lap down.
Yes, you called.
Right, so let's see how many of these guys we can get in for a post-race interview, as we're just waiting for the final cars to come round and cross the line.
I mean, 11 out of 12 finishers, strong drive from everyone, even with the offs that happened. Brilliant show, even sorry with the changing conditions. A couple penalties, and there we go. Even the game agrees.
Yeah, driver of the day for Blood and Sand. So it's quite an action-filled race there. We've had a couple incidents, a couple things which I won't be surprised if the stewards will be reviewing later, as some drivers may be putting appeals in, but we'll enjoy the podium as it is for now. We've got Cal up on the top step. Phenomenal race as usual, and fastest lap. And then Xerxes with a well-deserved podium there, and Sega to round it off. Sega, after a thrilling season last season, he's fully deserved it to be up on one of the podium steps there.
Might be worth to see how this affects the constructors as well. If you look at the team standings, you did mention that, you know, there's a lot of teams that are very close together. So McLaren having a strong showing here as well. Very similarly in that respect from Red Bull. Williams with their sole driver taking, you know, top 3.
Yeah, quick rundown of the final standings. Sorry, we're going to go Cal for first, Xerxes in second, Sega Dakars in third, Blood and Sand in fourth, Woody in fifth, Maxi in sixth, James in 7th, A Letdown of State in 8th, Old Dad's Rules in 9th, Prev in 10th, CHM in 11th, and Appleplex will be unclassified as he did retire and leave from the race. So I believe I've seen a couple people join our party.
Bloom, I think you just need to take a breath there a second and just, you know.
So we are joined now. We've got Cal in and we have got Xerxes in. So we'll just let all shut down, ask some questions whilst I just check everybody's on the stream.
Right, well, to be fair, nice race, guys, this evening. Honestly, that was brilliant to watch. Obviously, as much as I, am driving Red Bull on Wednesdays, it was nice to see the battle play out between you two. Cal, to be fair, the entire drive from start to finish, you looked like you had everything under control in that respect. It didn't look like the car kind of fell out of line at all. Did you struggle at all with the change of conditions, especially with the long stint at the beginning? How did you find that?
Not too bad, to be fair. The long stint at the beginning, I did push it an extra couple of laps just to try and... Because I thought the rain was going to come later in the race. That's what it was told at the start. But then it was moved earlier into the race. So, so made it go an extra couple of laps. Reason being was because I wanted to get on their mediums and then make sure that I knew it was only going to be a short period of rain, so we could potentially get through. And that's exactly what happened. So a bit fortunate with where the rain actually landed in the race, because it worked out perfectly for me, really.
Were you not tempted to buy the intermediates at all at any stage? We did see a couple of the drivers this evening do so, and unfortunately it just didn't work out. From our camera angles here, it definitely looked like the Inters were going to be the tyre to go for.
Yeah, so I was quite lucky, really, because my teammate was obviously a little bit further down, and I think a couple of people around him pitted for Inters, and I knew by what you were saying that people were losing time to him on his dry tyres, so I kind of had a little bit of info. As for the feeling of it, I did say it was getting within a lap or two, but then obviously it came through the radio that the rain's going to stop, so it was just a case of pushing through, making sure that we don't spin, and just maintaining the gap. Obviously with Xerxes spinning, it gave me that bit of breathing space, because if that hadn't happened, it could have been very close at the end. Very close.
Yep.
Like I say,
good show from you there.
It was a shame to see it happen, but it was good.
Good show with pole, fastest lap, and the race win. But I think we did see you lose a couple positions at the race start. Was that another traction issue off the line?
Yeah, to be honest, I've still not put enough time into practicing them starts. To be honest, I just didn't. After my first pole, I didn't want to do the same thing and end up in the wall. So I thought, if I lose a couple, let's just play it safe. I can. It's a long race, do you know what I mean? And
yeah,
I didn't want to end up in the same situation. So yeah, I actually got a good initial jump, and then it just wasn't great. So, but it was what it was. And as for the fastest lap, or pole, fastest lap, win, whatever, it's what you called for last week. So that's the only reason I started on the soft, to give it a go. I thought I might as well try it, and it paid off.
Well done. It's a phenomenal show there. So congratulations. But we'll now go to Xerxes, driving for Red Bull. How did you find that race?
Yeah, it was all right, mate. I bet you're surprised to see me, aren't you?
No, not too much. I mean, you showed some good pace throughout that race, and you seem to have your strategy down. You went soft, medium, medium. Was you tempted to go on to Inters at any point?
No, not at all. No, I kept dialing in with Jeff, and he was telling me it was 10 minutes of rain, so I thought, we'll hold it. I had Alan giving me some feedback, saying a few people went on Inters and they were losing time, so it wasn't worth it in the end. So we just stayed with it. Unfortunately, in Xerxes fashion, I spun it at the top corner, so that gave Cal the space he needed, I guess. Like he says, it would have been close if I'd have held it, but it's one of them, innit?
Yeah, it was really unfortunate when we seen you spin. So, but it was a good...
well, luckily it wasn't a Wednesday spin. At least it was just a little, just have a little cut of the grass.
Yeah,
wasn't going to hit the wall.
Safety car.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Safety car Steve, they call me.
To be fair, after watching you drive back on Melbourne at the first Grand Prix as well, and unfortunately what had happened there, the pace you'd shown, it was nice to see after racing against you on Wednesday as well when you came in reserve, to see what you can do in this league. It's great to see Red Bull back up in the top 3.
Yeah, tell me about it. No, it was all right. I had to fend off Sega, obviously, because he put on the softs. I think he came out 11 seconds behind me, and I was just trying to time it right and push that little bit more, and I think they started to luckily for me, fall off towards the end because he wasn't gaining, but he did gain a fair bit. I think it was about 6 or 7 seconds, but with his penalty, I just tried to be clean and not spin.
Yeah, we've seen some close battles at the start. There was the top three. There was yourself, Cal, and Woody, I think, was the other driver.
Yeah.
And I think we've seen a little incident. Was it yourself and Woody, I think?
I heard it on the stream on that first corner. I heard you guys say there was contact. I honestly didn't feel anything, so I thought I was clean. But if there was, then there was. I can't do anything about it now. It is what it is.
Cool.
Yeah, I think from our angles, the first and second corner, there was a bit of wheel rubbing, and that I didn't think we saw any end plates go besides one of the Ferraris at that stage. But they say if no damage was taken at that point, it just looked like it from our angle.
Yeah, no, I obviously did a risky one. I can't remember who it was, but took the inside dive bomb-ish, maybe.
Oh,
know,
yes,
I
I think you had Daniel Ricciardo's brake pedal at that point.
Yeah, the Daniel Ricciardo we called it.
Well, I've took ABS off and I can brake a little bit later, which is nice, so yeah, I thought I'd give it a go.
But fantastic drive, fantastic pace, and well done on
boys.
your first podium at Wheel to Wheel.
Yeah, first and last.
doing Rebel proud.
So
yeah, that's it, mate. We got this.
We'll move on to the third driver that rounds off the podium here for the Chinese Grand Prix. It's Sega Takaz. Well done on your first podium for this season. Is this how you sort of seen this season starting? Because you've not had the best of luck coming into this season. Are you there, Sega?
I don't think he's in the chat.
Oh, I thought he was in with us.
We to answer for him.
Yeah, just answer for him. Yeah, it'd be sound. Yeah.
You're gonna have to repeat the question because I wasn't listening on it.
Oh well, never mind. Well, yeah.
I mean,
I
Bloom,
thought
I was going to say something, but you were in your flow, so I thought I'd leave you to it.
Cool.
Xerxes, you actually had, just one thing, Xerxes, you had a lot of pace in that. Well, obviously when we was battling, we were sort of lapping the same times. Did you, in your qualifying run, did you have a clean run, or it looked like you got blocked?
Oh, right. Yeah, I did. I got blocked because I set a lap, but I braked at the line because I wanted to set like just a time that I could go against on mediums because I wanted to run mediums first.
Yeah.
And then I was just having a chat with Chris, and he was like, "Might as well just do it in softs." And then, yeah, went for a lap, and CH. I don't know if he was on a lap or setting up a lap or what, but unfortunately, yeah, on that last corner, I think I crossed the line at 30.8 or something.
Yeah.
Was you?
Oh yeah.
Was you
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because I also had a lap at the end. I don't know if you saw it on the commentary, but I ran slightly wide last corner, literally just on the border, and I was 4 tenths up. But obviously from the race, you seemed to have really good pace. I was just wondering where you was at.
Yeah, like I say, I crossed the line at a 30.8, and that was having to swerve him to avoid him on that last corner. So who knows what it would have been, but yeah, like I say, it is what it is. Can't change it now.
Yeah, we did catch that on the stream, and as you say, to go round him and then got a 1:30.8, which would have put you on the second.
I think it was second, yeah.
Yeah, you two, and I think it was Woody as well. Those last couple laps, it got very close, and just to try and keep up with all three of you to see where you are and if the laps are valid or not, unfortunately, because this can be a tricky track, and no matter how much you push, you can unfortunately lose it.
Yeah, I was quite happy not getting any warnings as well. Any points for that?
Yeah, loads, because I didn't get any on Wednesday.
Oh, result, there we go then.
You get a point from Chris for joining him as Mr. Clean.
That's
but
it,
Cal also got no penalties, and I think CHM was the only other driver to get no penalties.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was a good race from everyone, really. No safety cars. It was a good uninterrupted race. It was a shame on Wednesday.
There was no safety car, but there was a couple areas of
I think there should
contact.
have been after a couple of the crashes. Yeah, we had
very
let down a stable.
Very surprised to see old dads drive off with four wheels.
Yeah, Chris said he was in the back of a wall. Surprised he still had a wing.
Yeah.
No, both of them both went off an impact and somehow didn't take any damage off the impacts.
Oh, wow.
It was impressive.
Yeah, good stuff then.
Bloom, anything else you'd like to add to this one?
No, I think that's it for the Chinese Grand Prix. Thank you very much for joining us, and well done to Cal and Xerxes on your podium. Sega couldn't join us for the post-race interview, but please join us next week where we will go around the Netherlands, and stay safe.